Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Monday, April 2nd, 2018. Today I'm going to recap the women's national title game from last night, preview and pick the men's title game for tonight, recap yesterday's NBA action, look ahead to tonight's NBA action, recap last night's NHL action, look ahead to tonight's NHL action, recap Major League Baseball from last night, as well as look ahead to Major League Baseball today. Amazing national title game in women's college hoops. Notre Dame defeated Mississippi State 61-58 on a buzzer-beating three-pointer by Enrique Ogubali, the same hero that hit the game-winning shot against UConn. Hits it in this game as well. Jessica Shepard had 19 points in the championship game win as well. Victoria Vivians had 21 points in defeat. A great two-year run for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. That program's on the rise. This was the Irish's first championship in 12 years. I messed up on the podcast the other day. I said they won in 2012. I was wrong. They were in the game in 2012. They lost, I believe, to Baylor. And they end their drought. That was the biggest shot in Notre Dame's women's basketball history, as the Irish win their second championship in program history. Tonight, you have the men's national title game featuring the Villanova Wildcats and the Michigan Wolverines. Villanova's coming off an absolute dominant win over the Kansas Jayhawks. The Wolverines are coming off an unbelievable win over the Cinderella story that is the Loyola of Chicago Ramblers and Sister Jean. Moritz Wagner pretty much single-handedly won that game for them. This is a very hard call. I absolutely think the Wolverines are a great team, led by Wagner, Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman, Jordan Poole, Duncan Robinson. But I just think the Wildcats have been here. They've done it. Jay Wright's an outstanding coach. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Phil Booth lead the way for the Wildcats to win their second championship in 3 seasons. So give me the Wildcats over the Wolverines in what should be a great game. NBA yesterday. Some interesting results to get to you. There's no games on tonight, believe it or not, because of the men's title game. The 76ers defeated the Hornets 119-102. The Sixers improve to 46-30. Charlotte drops to 34-44. Marco Bellinelli put up 22 in the win. Ben Simmons had 20 points and 15 assists in the win as well. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist put up 16 points in defeat. Bellinelli's been a solid bench pickup for the Sixers this year. A terrible loss for the Washington Wizards, losing in Chicago to the lowly Bulls, 113-94. The Bulls are now 26-51. The Wizards are 42-35. Lauri Markkanen, 23 points, 5 for 8 for 3. Otto Porter Jr. put up 17 in defeat. A very impressive win for the San Antonio Spurs. They are 100-83 winners over the Houston Rockets. Granted, Houston didn't have Chris Paul, and they have the 1 seed and home court advantage clinched. San Antonio, with perhaps their biggest win of the year so far, 45-32 on the year. Houston drops to 62-15. LaMarcus Aldridge put up 23 points and 14 rebounds in the win. James Harden put up 25 points and 8 assists in defeat. Rudy Gay also had 21 points for the Spurs. We'll see what happens with the Kawhi situation with the Spurs. Hopefully he's back, because I don't think they can win in the playoffs without Kawhi. But if Kawhi were to come back, I think they can knock off Golden State or Houston. That's a hot take. An impressive win for the Indiana Pacers, 111-104 over the Los Angeles Clippers in Los Angeles. The Pacers improved to 46-31. The Clippers dropped to 41-36. Tobias Harris put up 21 in defeat. Victor Oladipo, the runaway favorite for most improved player, 30 points in the win. Miles Turner had 24 in the win as well. Oladipo and Turner are two long-term pieces for Indiana to build around. Domantas Sabonis is a nice piece as well. But I have a funny feeling that he's trade bait for them because I think they like Turner better. And they received Sabonis in the George trade. But those are two bigs. And sometimes they play together. But I think that they'll end up keeping Turner for the long haul. More of that conversation another day. The Hawks defeated the Magic 94-88 in the Battle of Tankers as the Hawks go to 22-55. Orlando is now 22-54. Tyler Dorsey put up 19 in the win. DJ Augustine put up 20 in defeat. The Pistons defeated the Nets 108-96. They improve to 37-40. Brooklyn drops to 25-52. Jaron Allen put up 15 in the win. Reggie Jackson put up 29 in defeat. The Pistons are still mathematically alive in the playoff hunt, but I don't think they'll get there. I think they're 4 back of the 8 seed. The Cavaliers defeated the Mavericks 98-87. They improved to 47-30. Dallas drops to 23-54. LeBron James with another triple-double, 16 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists. Harrison Barnes put up 30 in defeat as LeBron James keeps making that MVP argument. An impressive win for the Oklahoma City Thunder, 109-104 in New Orleans against the Pelicans. They improved to 45-33. New Orleans drops to 43-34. Russell Westbrook with the triple-double yet again. Paul George put up 27 in the win. Anthony Davis put up 25 in defeat. An impressive win for the Utah Jazz, 121-97 in Minnesota against the Timberwolves as they improved to 44-33 and the Timberwolves dropped to 44-34. Ricky Rubio put up 23 points in the win in his return to Minnesota, and Andrew Wiggins put up 23 points in defeat. The Nuggets defeated the Bucks 128-125 in overtime. That's a big win for the Denver Nuggets as they improved to 42-35. Milwaukee drops to 41-36. Nikola Jokic put up 35 points, 13 rebounds in the win. Jabari Parker put up 35 in defeat. And Jamal Murray also had 27 points in the win as Denver stays alive in the Western Conference playoff hunt. The Warriors with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant and Draymond Green back defeated the Suns 117-107. They improved to 56-21. Phoenix drops to 19-59. Kevin Durant put up 29 points and 11 rebounds in the win. Marquise Chris put up 22 in defeat. The Trailblazers defeated the Grizzlies 113-98 as they clinch a playoff berth. They improved to 48-29. Memphis drops to 21-56. Damian Lillard put up 27 points and 9 assists in the win. Dylan Brooks put up 28 in defeat. The Kings defeated the Lakers 84-83. That's a really low-scoring game between two teams that aren't good. Sacramento improves to 25-53. The Lakers drop to 33-43. Buddy Hield put up 19 in the win. Julius Randle put up 19 in defeat. There's no games on tonight, so we'll transition to the NHL. A couple notable results in hockey. The Flyers defeated the Bruins 4-3 in overtime as they improve to 40-25-14. The Bruins dropped to 49-17-12. I picked the Flyers on yesterday's podcast. I was correct. In the first period, Claude Giroux netted his 28th of the year to put Philadelphia on the board 1-0. Second period, Travis Konecny, 24th of the year, 2-0 Philly. Boston gets on the board with the goal by Noel Acciari, his 9th of the year, make it 2-1. Third period, Nolan Patrick's 11th of the year, 3-1 Flyers. David Pasternak's 33rd on the year on the power play makes it 2-3. Boston ties it up with 4 seconds left in regulation on a goal by Patrice Bergeron, his 30th of the year, to make it 3-3. And in overtime, Claude Giroux with the game winner to make Philly a 4-3 winner. An impressive win for the Nashville Predators, 4-1 winners in Tampa Bay against the Lightning. They improved to 51-17-11. Tampa drops to 52-23-4. Ryan Johansson got his 14th of the year to make it 1-0 Nashville in the first. Second period, Philip Forsberg on the power play, 2-0 Nashville, his 22nd of the year. Tampa gets on a board, but on a goal by Andre Palat to make it 2-1. And then in the third period, Philip Forsberg again unassisted. Makes it 3-1. And Craig Smith's 23rd of the year makes it 4-1 Nashville, makes them a winner. I think Nashville's the team to beat in the league. An impressive win for the New Jersey Devils, 2-1 winners over the Montreal Canadiens. New Jersey improves to 42-28-9. Montreal drops to 28-39-12. Montreal scored first in the first period with 9 seconds to go. Daniel Carr on the power play, 1-0 Montreal. And no more scoring until the third period when New Jersey played away. Nico Hirschier's 19th of the year makes it 1-1. And Taylor Hall, shorthanded, his 37th of the year, gives New Jersey the win for good. Impressive win for the Washington Capitals, 3-1 winners over the Pittsburgh Penguins. They improved to 47-25-7. Pittsburgh drops to 45-29-6. First period, TJ Oshie's 18th of the year makes it 1-0 Washington. Second period of the year, Dmitry Orlov's 10th of the year, 2-0 Washington. Third period, Tom Wilson's 14th of the year, 3-0 Washington. And then Pittsburgh's lone goal came later on in the third period by Patrick Hornquist to make it 3-1. And Washington gets the win. A big win for the Anaheim Ducks, as they are 4-3 overtime winners against the Avalanche, as the Ducks improved to 41-25-3. The Avalanche dropped to 42-28-9. First period, Colorado got on the board first with a goal by Alexander Kerfoot, his 18th of the year, to make it 1-0 Avs. The Ducks tie it up 5 minutes later on a goal by Andrew Cogliano, his 10th of the year, 1-1. Second period, Tyson Jost on the power play makes it 2-1 Colorado, his 11th of the year. Jost again, 3-1 Colorado, that was his 12th of the year. Third period, Adam Henrique's 23rd of the year gets the Ducks within 2. Then the Ducks tie it up almost 2 minutes later on a goal by Ryan Kessler, his 8th of the year, make it 3-3. And in overtime, the winner by Andres Case, his 19th of the year, to make Anaheim a 4-3 winner. Tonight's slate, you have the Sabres at the Maple Leafs, the Jets at the Senators, the Hurricanes at the Panthers, the Capitals at the Blues, the Oilers at the Wild, and the Avalanche at the Kings. No games on national TV tonight. Standings real quick. Boston's in first in the Atlantic with 110 points. Tampa's 2 points back of them with 108 points. Toronto is in third with 101 points. Metro, Washington clinched the division with the win last night. They have 101 points. Pittsburgh clinched a playoff spot. They have 96 points. Columbus is in third with 94 points. And then your wild card, Philadelphia, has 94 points. Yet to clinch. Columbus is yet to clinch, by the way. And New Jersey has 93 points. Those playoff spots are in the air. I think those three teams are getting in. It's a matter of the order. Carolina's eliminated. The Rangers eliminated. Florida's still in there, 86 points. Carolina 81, Rangers 77, Islanders 74, Detroit 71, Montreal 68, Ottawa 65, Buffalo 62. Western Conference, Nashville has yet to clinch the Central Division. They have 113 points. They'll probably clinch it soon, maybe within the next day or two. Winnipeg 106, Minnesota 96. Pacific Division, Vegas has it clinched, 107 points. San Jose, 98 points. Anaheim, 95 points. Wild card in the West. Kings, 94. Colorado, 93. St. Louis is a point back of Colorado at 92 points. Dallas is still mathematically alive with 88 points. Calgary eliminated, 82 points. Chicago, 74. Edmonton, 74. Vancouver, 69. Arizona, 67. That's your NHL standings update for today. Now I'm going to do Major League Baseball from yesterday. Couple interesting results from yesterday. The Blue Jays defeated the Yankees 4-7. They even up the series at 2-2. Come out of there at the split. The Yankees are obviously 2-2 as well. Tyler Clippard with the win. David Robertson with the loss. And On for the save was Seung-Hwan Oh. The Blue Jays started off the scoring in the bottom of the second with an RBI single by Devin Travis. Top of the third, Yankees tied up at 1 apiece with the RBI double by Didi Gregorius. Top of the third as well, Neil Walker RBI single, 2-1 Yanks. Also in the top of the third, a 2-run homer by Brandon Drury to make it 4-1 Yanks. And here come the Blue Jays, bottom of the seventh. Justin Smoak home run, 2-run shot, 4-3. Bottom of the eighth, yet again, Justin Smoak, grand slam to dead center off of David Robertson. That put Toronto up 7-4 for good. And then O comes out and gets the save. That's an impressive win for Toronto. Got to give credit to Justin Smoak. 6 runs batted, and he single-handedly won that game for Toronto. If it wasn't for his hot bat, Toronto's 1-3, and the Yankees are 3-1, and not being criticized by the media and by fans 4 games into the season with Aaron Boone's decision-making. They walked Josh Donaldson intentionally to get to Smoak, because Smoak was hitless against David Robertson in his career and had a bunch of strikeouts against Robertson, and Smoak takes Robertson deep to center with the go-ahead grand slam as Toronto gets the split in the series. An impressive win for the Minnesota Twins, 7-0 over the Orioles. They are now 2-1. Baltimore's 1-2. Jose Berrios gets the win, pitched a 3-hitter, and Kevin Gausman with the loss. And Jose Berrios went the distance as well. 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, a 0 ERA. This game was all Twins. Kevin Gausman didn't pitch well for Baltimore. 4 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. ERA is 13.5. In the top of the first, Brian Dozier homer, 1-0 Twins. Top of the second, RBI double by Eduardo Escobar, 2-0 Twins. 3-0 Twins on a wild pitch by Kevin Gausman. Eddie Rosario scored. 4-0 Twins on an RBI single by Byron Buxton. Third inning, Miguel Sano homer, 5-0 Twins. Eduardo Escobar homer, 6-0 Twins. And then top of the sixth inning, Brian Dozier, another homer, 7-0 Twins. That was your final. A big win for the St. Louis Cardinals, 5-1 over the Mets to salvage the final game of that series. They're now 1-2. The Mets are 2-1. Luke Weaver with the win. Steven Matz with the loss. Weaver had a great game. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. ERA 1.8. Steven Matz pitched for the Mets. 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 6.75 ERA. Paul DeJong homered to left off of Steven Matz in the top of the second to make it 1-0 St. Louis. The Mets tied up in the bottom of the second on an RBI single by Ahmed Rosario. Top of the third, RBI double, Marcell Ozuna, 2-1 Cards. Top of the fourth, Yadier Molina home run, 3-1 Cards. Top of the fifth, RBI single, Marcell Ozuna, 4-1 Cardinals. And the top of the eighth, another home run by Paul DeJong, 5-1 Cardinals. That was your final. And I had the Cardinals on the podcast. I had to pick the baseball games for ESPN. I did have the Cards in that one. An impressive win for the Miami Marlins, 6-0 over the Cubs. They're 2-2, surprisingly. The Cubs are 2-2 as well. Dylan Peters, 6 scoreless innings for Miami. That's really impressive for them. 6 hits, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts leaves the game with a 0 ERA. And for the Cubs, a disappointing start for Jose Quintana. 6 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts leaves the game with a 9 ERA. All the scoring took place in the bottom of the 5th and 6th innings. An RBI single by Chad Wallach to get it going for Miami. And then Derek Dietrich, RBI single, 2-0 Miami. Bottom of the 5th, Brian Anderson drove in 3 on an RBI double and to make it 5-0. And then in the bottom of the 6th, a wild pitch by Jose Quintana. Yadiel Rivera scored the run there for the Marlins, and that was the scoring on that game. The Red Sox defeated the Rays 2-1. They get out of there 3-1. Tampa's 1-3. Hector Velasquez with the win. Jose Alvarado with the loss. Joe Kelly with the save. He bounces back from the rough opening day outing. Bottom of the 2nd, Tampa Bay actually scored first. Brad Miller home run, 1-0 Rays. Top of the 5th, RBI single by J.D. Martinez makes it 1-1. And then top of the 6th, RBI single by Rafael Devers to make Boston a 2-1 winner. Game 1 of a doubleheader between the Pirates and the Tigers. The Pirates were victorious 1-0. They improved to 2-0. Detroit 0-2. The win, Trevor Williams. The loss, Michael Fulmer. The save, Felipe Rivero. Trevor Williams had a no-hitter after 6 innings. The Pirates pulled him. And the lone run of this game was an RBI double by Gregory Polanco. There wasn't a hit given up in the game until the bottom of the 7th inning for Pittsburgh as they improved to 2-0. The Astros beat the Rangers 8-2. They improved to 3-1. Texas drops to 1-3. Garrett Cole, and very impressive, getting the win. Mike Minor got the loss. Garrett Cole, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Leaves the game with a 1.29 ERA. Minor did not have a good game for the Rangers. 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. But leaves the game with a respectable ERA of 3.86. The scoring actually got going with the Rangers in the bottom of the 1st inning. Joey Gallo, homer, 1-0 Rangers. Top of the 5th, Derek Fisher triple. Drives in Max Stassi to make it 1-1. Also in the top of the 5th, sacrifice fly by George Springer to make it 2-1. Top of the 6th, RBI double by Evan Gattis, 3-1. Top of the 6th as well, Max Stassi, RBI single, 4-1. Top of the 7th, RBI double that scored in 2 for Carlos Correa, 6-1 Astros. And then also in the top of the 7th, that RBI single by Evan Gattis, make it 7-1. Bottom of the 8th, Drew Robinson, home run, make it 7-2. Top of the 9th, Astros picked up 1 more run. RBI double by Evan Gattis to make Houston an 8-2 winner. The Angels defeated the Athletics 7-4 in Shohei Ohtani's pitching debut. He got the win. The loss, Daniel Gossett. The save, Kenyon Middleton. The Angels improved to 3-1. Oakland drops to 1-3. Luis Valbuena, RBI double, 1-0 Angels in the top of the 2nd, as well as an RBI by Jeff Marte to make it 2-0 Angels. Bottom of the 2nd, the only mistake Ohtani made, a home run by Matt Chapman, a 3-run shot to make it 3-2 Oakland. Top of the 5th, game-tying RBI double by Mike Trout, 3-3. Also in the top of the 5th, sacrifice fly Justin Upton to make it 4-3. Top of the 7th, RBI single by Cole Calhoun, and Calhoun advanced to 2nd on an error by Boog Powell. Also in the top of the 7th, RBI single by Andrelton Simmons to make it 7-3, and then in the bottom of the 9th, Stephen Piscotty, RBI single, make it 7-4, and the Angels come away with the win. The Mariners defeated the Indians 5-4. They improve to 2-1. The Cleveland drops to 1-2. Mike Leake with the win. Dan Otero with the loss. And Edwin Diaz with the save. Cleveland got it going first in the top of the 2nd. RBI single by Bradley Zimmer, 1-0 Cleveland. Top of the 4th, home run Edwin Encarnacion, 2-0 Cleveland. Bottom of the 5th, here come the Mariners. RBI single, Gene Segura, 2-1. Also in the bottom of the 5th, RBI double by Kyle Seager, make it 2-2. Bottom of the 7th, D. Gordon home run. His first as a Mariner to make it 3-2 Seattle. Also in the bottom of the 7th, Mitch Haniger home run, 5-2 Seattle. And then top of the 8th, Another home run by Edwin Encarnacion. A 2-run shot to make it 5-4 as Seattle comes away victorious. The Nationals swept the Reds. Final score of this one, 6-5. Washington 3-0. Cincinnati 0-3. Gio Gonzalez with the win. Sal Romano with the loss. Sean Doolittle with the save. Top of the first inning, Anthony Rendon home run. 2-run shot, 2-0 Nats. Top of the sixth, Bryce Harper home run. 3-0 Washington. Bottom of the sixth, Adam Duvall RBI double. Makes it 3-1. They get the Reds on the board. Top of the seventh, another home run by Adam Eaton. 2-run shot, 5-1 Nats. Bottom of the eighth, Billy Hamilton, RBI double, 5-2. Also in the bottom of the eighth, RBI ground out by Adam Duvall. Top of the ninth, Bryce Harper homer, 6-3. And then in the bottom of the ninth, Phil Gosselin home run, 2-run shot, make it interesting at least, 6-5. It had to make Doolittle work a little bit because Doolittle gave up that home run. Gio Gonzalez had a solid game, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 1.5 ERA. Sal Romano had a solid game, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, leaves the game with a 4.5 ERA. In the second game of the doubleheader, the Pirates defeated the Tigers 8-6. They improved to 3-0, Detroit's 0-3. Chad Kuhl with the win. Buck Farmer with the loss. Felipe Rivera with the save. Detroit scored first, and they scored twice in the first inning. Nick Castellanos RBI single. 1-0 Tigers. Bottom of the first as well. An RBI double by Nico Goodrum. The top of the third, Pittsburgh got on the board with the home run by Josh Harrison to make it 2-2. Starling Marte home run in the top of the third as well to make it 3-2 Pirates. Bottom of the fourth, Detroit ties it up on an RBI single by James McCann. Top of the fifth, sacrifice by Jordy Mercer, 4-3 Pirates. Top of the fifth as well, on a wild pitch by Buck Farmer, Josh Harrison scored the run to make it 5-3. Also in the top of the fifth, RBI single by Francisco Cervelli. Top of the fifth, David Freese home run, 8-3 Pirates. That was a 2-run shot for Freese. Bottom of the sixth, a good sight to see if you're a Tigers fan, a Miguel Cabrera home run to make it 8-4. Detroit makes it interesting again in the bottom of the ninth. Dixon Machado RBI double to make it 8-5. And an RBI double by Miguel Cabrera to make it 8-6. That's what made that game a little bit more interesting as Pittsburgh gets out of there with the sweep. And last but not least, the Dodgers defeated the Giants 9-0 as the Dodgers come away with the split here at 2-2, as well as the Giants. Rich Hill with the win, Chris Stratton with the loss. The scoring didn't get going until the bottom of the fourth. RBI sac fly for Cody Bellinger. Bottom of the sixth, RBI double Yasiel Puig. 2-0 Dodgers, 3-0 Dodgers on a RBI single by Yasmani Grandal. Also in the bottom of the sixth, a 2-run home run by reigning National League Rookie of the Year, Cody Bellinger, his first of the year, 5-0 Dodgers. Bottom of the eighth, 7-0 Dodgers on a 2-run RBI double by Kiki Hernandez. Bottom of the eighth, RBI ground out Jock Peterson. And also in the bottom of the eighth, RBI single by Austin Barnes to make it a 9-0 final. That's a dominant win for the Dodgers. And White Sox-Royals was postponed, and they'll do a doubleheader on Saturday, April 28th. Speaking of rainouts, Rays-Yankees was snowed out. Yes, snowed out. They'll make that game up tomorrow, and that will be Giancarlo's first game as a Yankee in the Bronx. So that should be a fun watch. The pitching matchup should still be Jordan Montgomery going for New York. And I believe Matt Andrews for the Rays. I'm not 100% on that. They might change because of the weather. Also today you have the Minnesota Twins at the Pittsburgh Pirates in the Pirates home opener. Jameson Taillon's getting the ball for Pittsburgh. Lance Lynn's getting the ball for Minnesota, and it's Lynn's Twins debut. We'll see if the Pirates keep this unexpected 3-0 start up. The Royals are at the Tigers, 2 winless teams. Let's see who gets a win on the board first. It's Jason Hamill against Francisco Liriano. 2 guys, assuming these 2 teams are still bad in June and July, that pitch well could be moved at the deadline for something. You have the Cardinals at the Brewers in the Brewers home opener. Zach Davies is getting the ball in the Brewers home opener. Getting the ball for the Cardinals today is Miles McCollis. We'll see how he does. You have the Cubs at the Reds. Tyler Chatwood is making his Cubs debut. And going for the Reds is Tyler Mahle. The Cubs have dominated in Cincinnati over the last couple seasons since Joe Maddon's been there. And expect a lot of long balls in that game with the Cubs' number 5 starter going today. I won't be shocked if the Reds get their first win of the season today. I'm just going to go on a limb and say that. I'm not picking the Reds, but I just won't be surprised if that were the case. You have Houston hosting Baltimore in their home opener as they get their World Series rings. Charlie Morton's getting the ball for Houston, one of their World Series heroes, against Chris Tillman for Baltimore. And I am picking the Astros in this game. It's an ESPN game. I think the Astros are going to destroy Baltimore. They are going to destroy Baltimore. I won't be surprised if Carlos Correa or George Springer has 3 homers in this game. I'm just going to say that right now. And then you have the Chicago White Sox at the Toronto Blue Jays. Jaime Garcia is getting the ball for Toronto. And for the White Sox getting the ball today, Reynaldo Lopez. We'll see if the White Sox keep up their unbeaten start. You have the Mets hosting the Phillies. We'll see if that game's being played or not because of the weather, because it's pretty bad up in New York. There's snow on the ground in Yankee Stadium. That's why they postponed that game. But maybe they get everything cleared out in Queens by the time that game's supposed to start. It's Matt Harvey getting the ball for the Mets against Ben Lively for Philadelphia. You have the Red Sox at the Marlins. We'll see if the Marlins keep up this little nice start they have going, but I doubt it. You have Brian Johnson against Trevor Richards. A lucky break for the Red Sox here as they face 2 of the 7 worst teams in baseball in the Marlins and the Rays to start the season. You have the Nationals at the Braves. We'll see if the Nats remain undefeated. It's Tanner Roark against Sean Newcomb. And the Braves have looked pretty good through a couple games as well. You have the Dodgers at the Diamondbacks. Hyun Ryu against Taijuan Walker. And you have the Rangers at the Athletics. Bartolo Colon against Andrew Triggs in that series. You have the Indians against the Angels on ESPN2 tonight. That is Mike Clevenger against Jose Ramirez. It's the Angels home opener. This is a tough call. Clevenger had a nice season for Cleveland last season. I was going to take the Angels, but I'm changing it. I'm going Cleveland. I think they have the pitching advantage here. And I think they would like to get out of the West Coast on a winning ways. They have a couple games against the Angels. They are 1-2, and I just think they're the better team than the Angels. And you have the Rockies at the Padres. San Diego gets their first win of the year. They have Brian Mitchell going for them against Chad Bettis of Colorado. We'll see if the Pods get win number 1 here. So that's that. Power rankings for baseball. I'm going to do this every Monday. I'm going to do power rankings, and I'm going to do Players of the week. My picks for my players of the week in both the American League and the National League. Let's start with the Power Rankings. Number 1, Washington Nationals. They're 3-0. They impressively swept the Cincinnati Reds. Their bullpen hasn't been that great, though. But it's early. It's very, very early. I like Dave Martinez. Bryce Harper seems to be motivated. 2 home runs yesterday. Adam Eaton's off to a tremendous start as well. Their pitching's been solid, starters-wise. And they are facing the Braves in Atlanta to start the week. And they close out the week. Their home opener is against the Mets on Thursday, April 5th. And they close out the weekend on Sunday Night Baseball hosting the Mets. So this should be an interesting week for Washington to see if they remain unbeaten. I'm going to assume not, because baseball teams usually don't last to the second weekend of the season unbeaten. But Washington's a pretty solid team with a favorable schedule. They had the Reds to start. Now they're at Atlanta. Atlanta's a little better than they were last year. They're better, certainly better than the Reds. And then they have the Mets coming to town, who are off to a solid start of their own. So it should be interesting for Washington. 2, the Houston Astros, the reigning world champions. They had a great weekend by sweeping the Texas Rangers, or not sweeping, winning 3 out of 4. Their lone loss was the game Dallas Keuchel started on Friday night. This week they host the Orioles and they host the Padres. I won't be surprised by the least if they sweep this week, and could very well be on a 8-game winning streak come next Monday when I do these power rankings. So that won't surprise me in the least. Number 3, the Boston Red Sox. They had an impressive, or not so impressive, 3 out of 4 over the Rays. They probably should be 4-0, but they blew the opener. But they've recovered nicely since then. I mentioned that they're at the Marlins for 2 games, and they host the Rays at Fenway Park over the weekend. I talked about chances the Astros come into next week on an 8-game winning streak. I won't be surprised if the same can be said for the Red Sox, considering their favorable schedule with the lowly Marlins on the schedule, and they have the Rays coming to Fenway. And next week, they play host to the Yankees at Fenway, so we'll get more into that next week. Number 4, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yes, they're 2-2, but last night they showed their true side with the dominant 9-0 win over the Giants. I think those 2 games to start the season were sort of fluky. Joe Panik was the hero in both of those games that they lost in. And I have to give the Giants pitching staff credit for those first 2 games as well. But good recovery by the Dodgers. They're at the Diamondbacks to start the week, and then they close out the week at San Francisco against the Giants. It's funny that a lot of these teams are playing the same team in back-to-back weekends to start the season. We have the Rays and the Red Sox facing off again next weekend, or this upcoming weekend, as well as the Dodgers and the Giants. And then number 5, the New York Yankees. They're 2-2 as well. They could be 4-0 right now, as well as the Dodgers. The Dodgers could very well be 4-0 right now. But the Yankees could be 4-0 right now, but their bullpen did not do the job these last 2 games. They could have won both of those games, but they didn't. They're 2-2. Their home opener's postponed to tomorrow due to snow. This week they have Tampa Bay coming to town, as well as Baltimore. Baltimore for 4 games. Tampa just tomorrow and Wednesday. Don't be surprised if the Yankees are on a 6-game win streak coming in the next week with 2 division foes that are projected to finish 4th and 5th in the division at home. Despite the weather, I won't be surprised if the Yankees are 6-0 this week. Number 6 on the power rankings is the Chicago Cubs. They're 2-2. I'm a little disappointed. The Marlins are supposed to be the worst team in the league this year, and the Cubs get out of there 2-2. It's very early in the season, but I just think it's disappointing to lose to the lowly Marlins, because I just think the Marlins are no good whatsoever. Today and tomorrow they're at the Reds. Off day Wednesday for them, and they have a 4-game set at Milwaukee. I'm going to say they probably get out of that 3-3. I think they'll probably split each series, because I think the Reds are due for a win. I mentioned that as I was previewing today's games. And the Brewers are a pretty good team in their own right. So I think it'll be okay if the Cubs got out of there to split. It's still very early on the season. They haven't played at Wrigley Field yet this year. And it should be interesting to see what happens with the Cubs here in these 2 games. Number 7, the Cleveland Indians. They are 1-2, but they get the benefit of the doubt because it's very early in the season and they're still a very talented team. This week they have a 3-game set against the Angels. They are off on Thursday. That's a travel day for them, and they have their home opener Friday against the Kansas City Royals, the lowly Royals. So expect the Indians to get on the right path eventually. That Angel series is going to be tough with Mike Trout looming, but they should be able to take care of the Royals over the weekend. Number 8, speaking of the Los Angeles Angels, they are number 8. They are 3-1 to start the year, the 3 out of 4 winners over the Athletics. They host the Indians and the Athletics again this weekend. As I mentioned, the theme of the season for right now is teams seeing the same opponent the first or 2 times in the first 2 weekends of the season, which I think is interesting. It's basically just division teams. That's the case for the Angels, or have a pretty favorable schedule. I won't be surprised if they lose this Indian series, but they should be able to take care of the Athletics, as Ohtani's going to face the Athletics again probably on Sunday. Number 9, the Milwaukee Brewers, the 3-0 Milwaukee Brewers. They have their home opener today against the Cardinals. Their starting pitching's been pretty good so far. They have the Cardinals for 3, and they have the Cubs for 3. And it should be interesting to see how this week goes for Milwaukee. A 4-game set against the Cubs, so that's 7 games. Do I think they'll go 7-0? Probably not. 4-3 is reasonable. It's very early in the season still. So I won't be surprised if they get out there 4-3, 5-2. I think anything less than 4-3 should be considered a disappointment for the Brewers, considering they're 3-0 and they have expectations this season. Number 10, the Minnesota Twins, who could theoretically be 3-0 right now, but they're 2-1. They lost the opener on a walk-off home run by Adam Jones. Other than that, Kyle Gibson and Jose Barrios threw back-to-back shutouts. Really, really impressive for them. 2 games against the Pirates coming up on the slate today and Wednesday. And then they have their home opener against the Seattle Mariners on Thursday. And then they're off Friday, and then 2 more games against Seattle. Any chance they get out of that 5-0? We'll see. I'm going to say no. The Mariners are a solid team. And Pittsburgh has their home opener, even though Pittsburgh's projected to be a bottom 5 team in the league this season. They're 3-0 right now, so you got to give the Pirates credit. I think the Twins probably get a split with the Pirates and take 2 out of 3 from the Mariners. That's what I expect from them. Anything worse than 3-2 for the Twins, for me, is a disappointment. Number 11 on the power rankings this week is the Arizona Diamondbacks, who won 2 out of 3 to start the season against the Colorado Rockies. They host the Dodgers for 3 games coming up. And then Thursday, they travel to Arizona. And then Friday's the off day. And then Saturday and Sunday. So they have a 3-game set against the St. Louis Cardinals, as the Cardinals have their home opener on Thursday. This is a little bit tricky for the Diamondbacks, so getting out of this 3-3 should be considered a success for them. Anything short of that's a disappointment. If they get out of there 4-2, that's impressive. Number 12, the New York Mets, who won 2 out of 3 against the St. Louis Cardinals to start the season. They host the Phillies today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Then they travel to Washington. And Thursday is the Nationals home opener with the off day Friday. And Saturday and Sunday. And they're on Sunday Night Baseball to play the Nats. If the Mets get out of there 3-3, I think they're fine. But do it, win 2 out of 3 against the Phils, and then you win. If they somehow get a game against Washington, that'd be pretty good. If they get out of there better than 3-3, that's impressive. And considering if they get out of there with, say, 2 out of 3 against the Nats in Washington, I think that'd be very impressive. And then 2 out of 3 against Philly, that's pretty good, considering Philly, I think, is an improved team, although they're coming off a disappointing weekend in Atlanta. I'll get to the Phillies in a little while. Anything short of 3-3 for the Mets for this week is disappointing. The number 13 team is the Seattle Mariners, who had a good opening weekend, winning 2 out of 3 against the Cleveland Indians. They are off today, and they are traveling to San Francisco to face the Giants in their home opener for tomorrow. And they play the Giants again on Wednesday. And then they travel to the Twins and participate in their home opener on Thursday, off day Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday at the Twins as well. So they only have 5 games this week with 2 off days. It'd be nice if the Mariners got out of there 3-2. Although it would be pretty difficult because it's all road games. If they get the split with the Giants and get 2 out of 3 from the Twins, I think that's a good weekend for them. If they go 2-3, depending on how they go 2-3, say if they get swept by the Twins and beat the Giants twice, that would be a little disappointing. But they got to get out of there at least 3-2 to consider themselves a good weekend or good week. We'll see. Number 14 is the Atlanta Braves, who had an impressive weekend against the Phillies. They're 2-1. Probably should be 1-2 because they were down 5-0 in the opener to Philadelphia and they lost. Today they host the the Nationals, as well as tomorrow and Wednesday. They travel Thursday, and they're at the Rockies over the weekend. The Rockies home opener is Friday. If they get out of there 3-3, I think they're fine. Anything short of that's disappointing. Number 15 on the power rankings is the Toronto Blue Jays, who bounced back nicely after starting 0-2 to get the last 2 games against the New York Yankees. They start the week by hosting the White Sox for 3 with an off day Thursday to travel to Arlington to go face the Rangers. The Blue Jays, I think, got to get out of there 3-3. That should be 3-3 for them. Anything short of that's disappointing for the Blue Jays. Number 16 is the Colorado Rockies, who are 1-2 right now. Charlie Blackmon's off to a solid start. They're traveling to San Diego to play the Padres for 4 games. And then they have their home opener Friday against Atlanta. Anything short of 4-3 is disappointing for the Rockies. The San Francisco Giants check in at number 17 with scoring a grand total of 2 runs. Sort of uninspiring. But got to give the Giants credit for winning those 2 games. Their pitching was good those first 2 games. Ty Blach in the opener. And then Tony Watson getting the win in relief of Johnny Cueto, who pitched really well in Los Angeles. The Giants are off today. They host the Mariners for 2 as their home openers tomorrow. And the Dodgers come to town the 3 for the weekend. If the Giants get out of there 3-2 or better, I think that's a success. The St. Louis Cardinals come in at number 18. They're 1-2. Salvaged the series against the Mets yesterday. And now they travel to Milwaukee to face the Brewers for 3 games. And they host the Diamondbacks for 3. Their home openers Thursday, off day Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday hosting the Diamondbacks. I think they'll be fine if they get out of there 3-3. Anything short of that's disappointing. Number 19 in my power rankings, the 2-0 Chicago White Sox. They play in Toronto tonight against the Blue Jays. And they're there for 3 days. And they have their home opener Thursday against the Detroit Tigers. Off Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday again against the Tigers. If the White Sox get out of there 3-3, I think they're okay. But if I'm the White Sox, you're probably looking at losing 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays in all likelihood. And then I think they can sweep the Tigers. I think the Tigers are the worst team in the American League this season. And although I think 3-3 for them is fine, it doesn't matter how they do it, but I think 3-3 for them is okay. Number 20, the 3-0 Pittsburgh Pirates. I think that's pretty good for them despite them playing a terrible Tigers team. Their home openers today against the Twins. They host the Twins for 2. And then the Reds come to town for 4. Tomorrow's an off day for the Pirates. And if they get out of this 3-3, I think they'll be happy to take it. But I won't be surprised if they come out of this. If we're talking about the Pirates still being surprisingly decent, they have 6 home games coming up against the Twins and Reds. I won't be surprised at all if we're talking about the Pirates being 6-3 on Monday next week. If not better than that, that would be a pretty cool story. Number 21, the Texas Rangers, who are 1-3. They lost 3 out of 4 against the reigning World Series champion Houston Astros. They were destroyed in a couple of those games. And then the lone game they won was actually a good one because they defeated Dallas Keuchel. They travel to Oakland to face the 1-3 Athletics. The home opener for the Athletics was the other day, and now they host the Rangers for 4 after hosting the Angels for 4. So the Rangers are at Oakland for 4, and they close out the week at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. I think anything short of 4-3 is a disappointment for Texas. And speaking of the Athletics, I'll get to them in a couple minutes. Number 22 is the Philadelphia Phillies, who are coming off a disappointing first weekend against the Atlanta Braves. They're 1-2. Now they go to New York to face the Mets for 3. And their home opener is Thursday against the Miami Marlins with the off day Friday, and then they host the Marlins again Saturday and Sunday. I think they'd be fine getting out of there 3-3 if they get a win at City, and then take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins. I think that'd be okay. But if they get better than 3-3, that'd be really good for them. Anything short of 3-3 is disappointing for them. You can make a case 3-3 is disappointing for them if they lose, or if they sweep the Mets and then get swept by the Marlins. That'd be a little weird. I don't think that's going to happen, but that'd be just weird if that happened. I talked about the Athletics a couple minutes ago. They're number 23 in my power rankings. They're 1-3, falling 3 out of 4 to the Angels. They host the Rangers for 4. And then they travel to Anaheim to face the Angels for 3. I think getting out of there 4-3 would be good for the A's. 24 Baltimore Orioles. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Twins. They are in trouble, in my opinion. They face Houston for 3, and they go to Yankee Stadium for 4. That is daunting. I won't be shocked if we're talking about the Orioles being 1-9 in all seriousness, because they're facing the 2 best teams in the American League. If they get out of there 3-4 or better, I'd color me impressed. With that mediocre pitching staff, their offense hasn't looked all that good so far to begin with. And the Astros and Yankees rotations are better than their reputations. And the Yankees' point, it's definitely better than its reputation. Houston's rotation's been pretty good so far for its first time around. I expect Morton to pitch well tonight. But the Orioles, to me, are in trouble. Number 25 is the Tampa Bay Rays. They lost 2 out of 3 against the Boston Red Sox. And now they are in the Bronx to play the Yankees for 2. And then they travel to Boston. And Thursday's the Red Sox home opener at Fenway. Friday an off day, then Saturday and Sunday. And I talked about how the Rays or the Orioles could be winless. I won't be surprised if the Rays are winless this week as well. With 2 games against the Yankees and 3 against the Red Sox all on the road. I won't be shocked if we're talking about the Rays on an 8-game losing streak. And them being 1-8. That would be pretty disappointing for the Rays, considering that they started at home and could have easily won yesterday's game if they got big hits in big spots. But if they somehow get out of there 3-2, that Yankees-Red Sox trip, that color me impressed. Number 26, the Miami Marlins. Surprisingly 2-2, but I'm not giving them credit yet because there's the Marlins, and I just think it's an aberrational as the Boston Red Sox come to town for 2. And then they travel to Philadelphia to play the Phillies. And Friday an off day, and then 2 more against the Phils. They probably get out of that 1-4. I won't be surprised at all if it's 0-5. If they get out of there better than 2-3, I'd be very surprised. Number 27 is the San Diego Padres, who are 0-3 to start the season after being swept by the Milwaukee Brewers. They host the Colorado Rockies for 4, and they have a daunting task of going to Houston for 3. They're probably staring at 1-6 week. Wouldn't be dumbfounding if it was 0-7. But God, the Padres are 0-10. That'd be very disappointing considering they started 7 at home. They're probably going to get swept by Houston. If they find a way to get 4 out of the 7 this week, I'd be pretty impressed. Because I think the Rockies are better than 1-2. They're just played the Diamondbacks, who are a decent team in their own right. So color me impressed if San Diego gets out of there with 4 wins this week. Cincinnati's 0-3. They're 28 in my power rankings, coming off a sweep of the Washington Nationals, who are in the conversation for the league's best team. The Cubs come to town for 2. Off day on Wednesday, then they travel to Pittsburgh for 4. Like Cincinnati, or like San Diego, it won't be that surprising if Cincinnati is 0-9 come next week. That'd be disappointing considering 5 games of them is starting at home, and then they go to Pittsburgh to face a lowly Pirates team who was 3-0. Gotta give the Pirates credit for that, but Cincinnati should be able to get out of there 3-3 this week, assuming they get one from the Cubs and split with the Pirates. If they go worse than 3-3, it's disappointing for Cincinnati. Number 29 is the Kansas City Royals, who are 0-2. Their game against the White Sox was rained out yesterday. This week, they're at Detroit for 3, off day Thursday, and they travel to Cleveland. The Indians' home opener's Friday, and they have Cleveland over the weekend. They're probably staring at 2-4, maybe even 1-5. I won't be that surprised if they are 0-6 this week, and we're talking about the 0-8 Royals on Monday next week. We'll see. Maybe they do pick off the Tigers once or twice. I'll be impressed if they get out of there 3-3 or better. And Detroit's number 30. They are 0-3 to start the season after getting swept by the Pirates at home. The Royals, the winless Royals, come to town now. Maybe they pick off Kansas City here, and then they go to Chicago to face the White Sox in their home opener on Thursday. They're off Friday, and then 2 more against the White Sox on Saturday and Sunday. I'd be impressed if they got out of there 3-3 or better. I think the White Sox are an improved team this season. I won't be shocked if they're swept by the White Sox. I probably would be surprised if they got swept by the Royals, considering that they're home and the Royals are also winless. So it should be interesting to see how Detroit does this week. The players of the week. This was a very hard call. I'm going to say for the National League, my pick, Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies. Yes, the Rockies are 1-2, but Blackmon had 3 home runs this weekend against the Diamondbacks. And he's their leadoff hitter too. And he will be in the conversation for the NL MVP award. My American League Player of the Week. This is very, very tough. I'm going to say, with the complete game shutout of the Orioles yesterday, give me Jose Berrios of the Twins. Although there are plenty of candidates for this. Giancarlo Stanton had the 2 home runs in the opener against the Blue Jays for the Yanks, and had a solid weekend up in Toronto. Justin Smoke of the Blue Jays, who had 6 runs batted in yesterday. I won't be surprised if he takes home the actual honors. But my picks are Jose Berrios and Charlie Blackmon. And from a National League standpoint, you can make a case for Adam Eaton, who had an impressive weekend against the Reds. And you can also make a case for Bryce Harper, who's off to a solid start as well in the National League. And Dylan Peters with the shutout of the Cubs for the Marlins is another interesting National League candidate as well. I'll be back tomorrow recapping the men's title game, NHL action, MLB action, go over the NBA slate for tomorrow and a lot more. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.